What if I told you that what we've been doing so far to improve our circumstances in life is actually not going to totally solve all of our lingering insecurities that we've developed during our upbringings? A lot of us don't realize it at first, but for those of us who had to go through an extensively terrible, disturbing, misguided, and tragic childhood, the main motivation for us to actually start building muscle, earning more money, developing status, and get more sexual partners is not to actually better ourselves as we initially believe it to be. But instead, it is to try to bury down that previous version of ourselves that were weak, vulnerable, unconfident, incapable, naive, gullible, and fearful. Because that version of ourselves led us having to experience a lot of life circumstances the long and hard way, and those experiences are by no means pleasant. We have to experience a lot of painful things that if only we were more prepared, more well-informed, smarter, stronger, more courageous, and luckier, we could have avoided all the pitfalls and trenches that we have to spend considerable amount of time and effort climbing out of while we were growing up to become a fully functioning adults. Abuse, bullying, abandonment, poverty, accidents, demise, heartbreaks, whatever your case may be. We might think and believe that we are doing self-improvement mainly to better ourselves. But in reality, most of us are just trying to run away and shield ourselves away from our past. We just hide it from ourselves under the disguise of betterment because the motivation is too revealing, compromising, and exposing. We desperately want to distance ourselves as far as possible from our horrible past versions that we become relentless workhorses, tirelessly toiling our lives away in the pursuit of acquiring respectable and admirable attributes like money, muscles, fame, and sex, in order to create a version of ourselves that we can be proud of, that will eventually overshadow our past and banish away our lingering insecurities. But what if I told you that what we've been doing will only temporarily fill an endless self-digging hole? That continuously trying to get stronger, richer, more popular, and more desirable will never completely remove that version of you that you hate so much. It will only keep you satiated for as long as you are working your ass off. But once you try to take your foot off the gas, once you stop working, once you try to chill a bit, relax, and unwind, that version of you that you hate will start coming back and take over the narrative of your mentality, bringing you that same haunting feeling of being weak, vulnerable, foolish, poor, cowardly, and worthless. No amount of money, muscles, likes, and women can take away that feeling when it comes. They can only sedate it briefly. I understand. I know that it is rather upsetting and disconcerting having to revisit a version of us in time that had led us to experience so much pain and suffering. That version of us who make us feel insufficient, embarrassed, unadmirable, revolted, and despicable in our own present eyes. But just like our dark qualities, that version of ourselves is a part of us and will always be a part of us. What you resist will persist, and us trying to bury it down with exercise, work, and all that will only intensify its influence and tighten its hold over us, unwillingly making us even more attached to them. We have to find a way to make peace with them to the point where we don't have to rely on external accomplishments and validations to temporarily sedate the pain. Of course, by no means I'm telling you to stop improving all of your current attributes and completely ditch all of your responsibilities. Not at all. That would be absolutely stupid because you have goals and dreams to work on. Instead, it is gradually, day by day, forgiving yourself through acknowledging that it is not your fault that you were put and brought up in such unfortunate positions when you were young. When you were little, your choices were made for you because you couldn't and had no complete authority to make your own choices yet. You were supposed to be weak, vulnerable, and naive because you had to depend entirely on the people around you and your environment to shape and inform you when you were young. You had no control over all the bad circumstances that had befallen you when you were born because you couldn't choose whom you were bred by. So enough blaming yourself and hating yourself for all the bad things that happened in your life when you were young. It's not your fault. And shifting the blame to the people that are involved in your unfortunate upbringings, like your parents, bullies, teachers, etc., also would not do any good for you, because you can't reverse time, and getting invested in revenge will only deplete you of your precious resources that is much better allocated elsewhere. It's a luxury that you can't afford. Now, I understand that despite this, a lot of you will still insistently ask, but why does it have to be me? Why do I have to experience all this pain and suffering? Why do other people get to live their best lives and all I can do is just survive? Why not me? And this is where I can only say that because it is life's plan for you, or if you're religious, it is God's plan for you. And His plan is always the best. You just have to ride this out all the way to the end to find out, no matter how unfair it may seem. It's the card you've been dealt with. Now, when I say it isn't your fault for not having a choice when you were young, it doesn't mean that you can't make a choice when you are a fully functioning adult. No. It isn't your fault that you are born in poverty, but it is your choice to get out of it or stay in it. And I hope that with this, eventually, your motivation towards bettering yourself would no longer come from a vindictive source of trying to destroy the past version of yourself while dreaming of turning back time to undo everything bad that happened to you, but from a more enlightened and peaceful source of acknowledgement that whatever happened in the past, they were the catalyst that allowed you to make the changes necessary to grow and shape you to become the person you are now. And whatever happens now or in the near future will eventually become the catalysts that allows you to make the necessary changes to grow for the distant future ahead. Don't be so attached to who you were in the past because you're not giving your present self a chance. The same way, don't be so attached to who you are in the present because you're not giving your future self a chance. You have one life. Don't try to get rid of one half of it because they both make one complete story. And all good stories have polarizing expositions. And this is your story. Finish it. Thank you for watching.